I want to see Chaz's interview, and I definitely want to see Vanessa's interview, and I'm not sure yet. There's one more person. But nobody went home last week. The men met the women's family, and this week the women have to meet the men's family. So they start out at this barbecue, right? And Chaz and LaRon are talking about the incident. And the incident, you guys know, is LaRon and Maya had some activity outside of filming, and a dude approached her. He didn't like that. He didn't want to feel like a simp, and they got into it over that. And allegedly, he called her out of her name, but nobody knows what really happened, okay? Except for the people involved. So Maya is the other interview that I want to see. That's the other one I want to see. So while Chaz and LaRon are talking, Chaz asked him, have you genuinely apologized? And have you expressed what you're telling me to her? And he's like, no, she should already know. No, LaRon, that is not the answer, sir. No. Chaz still doesn't know what he's gonna do. Vanessa and Patrice kind of put the press on him at the table. Then they flip to LaRon and Maya talking, right? And LaRon tries to apologize to her, and Maya was not having it. The conversation just did not go good. And I kind of feel her on her stance, because in that situation, if it was the person that was meaning her harm, LaRon just also jumped on the side of, meaning her harm, meaning she didn't feel safe with him. You know what I mean? So communication goes a long way. So that did not go good. He did apologize though, but she accused him for doing things for the camera. Now that is something that we do need to discuss, because we always say that every season that somebody's doing it for the camera. But I think there were a couple people on this show this season that were looking for love. But who do y'all think was there for TV? Who? I want to know. Get in the comments below and let me know. All right. But basically, Maya was like, she doesn't feel comfortable expressing herself with him because of his reactions. And that's... And she told him he was not emotionally mature. So then Tommy shows up, and the first thing they show is Maya saying that she was done with the process, okay? Tommy calls her up, and he calls LaRon up, and LaRon is looking so wild up there on the hot seat, right? And Tommy tried to get them to work it out, and Maya basically is like, I've done all I can, and I'm at the end of my rope. So they both leave the show. She decided to leave, and he was like, well, if she's leaving, then I don't have no reason to stay. The crazy thing is that the thing that he said he didn't want, he got because of his behavior. So it's just interesting how things go, because everything goes back to what kind of mindset that they're in and how they see themselves. Because was LaRon doing this for TV, or was he being genuine with Maya? Why did she get that impression? We don't know. So then Tommy tells the men that they have to introduce the women to their family, and then they have to make a decision. So Chaz... They mentioned in an earlier episode that he's not good with his brothers when he met the women's family last week. But one of his brothers did come to meet his connections. But his brother is he's in the intelligence community and in the military, and so he was a little bit awkward. One of the things that he did that I thought was kind of wild was that he told them both that their nails were pretty, but it wasn't that he told them that their nails were pretty. It was the way that he said it the same to both of them. That's just his closing statement. I don't know. That was kind of funny. I know they probably both laughed at the playback on that. Why was he saying it like that? Justin introduces Meika to his brother Jay, and his brother Jay was like, Justin's a lot to deal with. Meika was like, what you mean by that? But I think that they are one of the genuine couples on the show. That's just my opinion. They look like they're really into each other. But then Justin's brother Jay asked Meika, was she open to more kids? And Meika said, yes, y'all. She was saying no at first, but she said possibly she would be open. And Alonzo introduces his cousin Johan to Patrice. And they also, again, got into whether Alonzo's ready for a long-term relationship or whatever. And it's very interesting, the connection that Alonzo and Patrice have, because as a viewer looking at Alonzo, what they showed us about him on the show, he just seems like he is really goofy. You wouldn't think that he would be the type that somebody would fall for like that, right? And then on the other hand, she has Chaz. But looking at them, just like Meika and Justin, I feel a genuine connection between Patrice and Alonzo, right? but that reunion coming up, and we don't know who Patrice was talking to when she was talking about what she was talking about, but we're going to get to that at the end of this video. So for the final couples, we got Justin and Meika, and then it was a toss-up between Patrice and Chaz or Patrice and Alonzo, okay? So we get to choosing day, and we see Chaz and Vanessa meeting first, right? They played a cutaway scene of her talking about him texting her that morning, and so she arrives, he has a bouquet of flowers, and she ends up telling him that she's choosing herself. And then Chaz responded that he was choosing himself. Now, normally people would be like, you really wasn't choosing yourself, whatever. But what made this one believable was that when he gave her this bouquet of flowers, he was giving her this speech on why, you know, she wasn't the person that he was going to pick to be ready to love, okay? And in the bouquet, he had a dead rose, okay? Which he explained to her that that was their love that had died, and he threw it in the water. I feel like that was so extra, but Vanessa did say that he was doing the most the whole season, all right? Now, what I think is that I think that some people did come on the show looking for love, and I think that there were other people who watched the show before and already planned out how they were gonna look on TV to themselves. That's just my opinion about Chaz, because you had to do way too much thinking to put first of all, you had to buy the sunflowers. You had to buy the rose before you bought the sunflowers so that the rose had time to die. Then you went and gave it to her and had this whole scene. I feel like that was for TV, right? And then when, you know, fast forward when he met with Patrice, which we're going to get into in a minute, he also took a flower from Patrice's bouquet and said that he would care for it and water it and pray over it. So I was just like, Chaz is doing this for the cameras. All right, get in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are about Chaz, all right? Like, even the stuff that he said was like, you know, you're not a person that I would want to love, or you're not a person. What did he say? He said a bunch of stuff when he was talking to Vanessa, and one of the things was that she wasn't a person he could love, and that she lacked the grace to deal with a man like him, and that she was emotionally unstable. So I don't know. We don't know what really happened because we don't get all the information. Like, all of this filming that they did is crunched into an hour of footage that they have to share with the other castmates. So, you know, I'm pretty sure they were even shocked about how some of this stuff came out, because every season, as you know, y'all regular, ready to love viewers, like, we know something the cast just doesn't know, because a lot of times there might be some of them that watched all seasons, but as a whole, a lot of them haven't watched the shows. We know how this goes, all right? Yep, we know how this goes, all right? So that was the whole thing. That was what happened with Chaz and Vanessa. But then he was like, I'm just gonna sit here and process the rest of my thoughts, if you don't mind. Like, he dismissed her. You gonna give her this bouquet of flowers, present this dead rose, and then dismiss her. But I do have to give her props on how she handled the whole situation, because a lot of people would have, you know, fussed them out, and they would have had a good moment on TV that was not so good, right? She handled that with grace, and she walked off. She took the flowers. Now, okay, Chaz pointed out that the sunflowers were not dead. Right, I get it. So it's not that. It's just the fact that you thought out that rose thing. And, you know, who sells dead flowers? Like, who sells dead flowers? I'm pretty sure somebody does for other purposes, but I feel like you had to buy that rose and let it die just for it to be ready. So the calculation in that is what is a bit alarming, okay? So then Justin and Meika meet up on a bridge, and Justin said it felt like love, and he asked Meika how she felt, and she was like, oh my God, I'm on the spot. But then she pulled out a letter where she mentioned love a bunch of times in it as well. They look cute together, and I feel like, you know, this might be one that OWN can add to their list of successful connections, all right? We will see. Time will tell. We don't know. But then there was like a boat at the bottom. They ended up getting on the boat and sailing away. It was really cute. So then Chaz and Patrice meet, and he gives her a bouquet of flowers. Patrice tells him that, you know, it's an honor to be chosen by a man like him, and she cares about him, but she is not feeling a spark, and so she is not going to choose him. So Chaz takes a rose from the bouquet that he gave her and says that he's gonna pray over it, he's gonna water it and care for it. So I wanna know about that flower current day. I don't know. I guess we gotta wait till the reunion at least comes by so we can see what happens or whatever, because that Chaz is a trip. All right. Then he called himself Chazzy. All right. I'm gonna just leave that one alone. And yeah. So next week is the reunion. Glenn actually shows up. It was a lot of people who didn't think that he was real. Like, I think LeBron said it. Now we get to find out whether he was really in the car on the episode or did he just not show up at all. I guess we'll get to learn a little bit about him. Okay, so the reunion gets pretty spicy. From Alexis and Will to Will and LaRon to Patrice talking about somebody sleeping with all these girls and Alonzo looking shocked. Like, the editing process, being a viewer of this show specifically for the last all of the episodes, right? All of the seasons, is kind of tainted my vision. So what I want to know is, do y'all think that Patrice is talking to Alonzo like it seems, or is this editing? I guess we shall see, okay? But that's it for me. You guys get in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the show. It's finally at the end of this season. Are you watching any interviews? What do you think?